Welcome back. Today's conversation is on the history of retirement. For the most part, you'll have a good overview when we complete this video, but an in-depth explanation is given to you in the podcast, which you can click on the link below. When you go to that website, hownottoretire.com, you'll be able to sign up for the podcast. You can get a complimentary ebook on some communication skills or some emotional intelligence. But that allows you to go more in depth in some of these. And then you're also going to be, there's a link below. You click on that one and you're going to get a copy of the workbook in a PDF form. And that PDF can be filled out. It's a fillable PDF. And there's also a version available there where it's just the information, but you answer all the questions in a separate notebook, which is also either by print or you can fill it out. So you have a couple of options. And I will repeat this for better understanding as we go forward. So let's start with the history of retirement. 1889, called Bismarck's Golden Handshake. Well, what was going on politically at the time was there was a lot of unrest. They were having difficulty in in Prussia, with unemployment for the younger crowd. And so Bismarck decides, for citizens age 70 and older, we'd like to get them out of the workforce to make room for the younger folks. And so while the life expectancy was 48 years or so at that point in time, they set a retirement date at 70, and then they created a pension. So the government paid them not to work. Well, 20 years after Bismarck passes away, which is a little bit later than that, the Prussian government changed it to age 65. And so since roughly the 1890s or right at the beginning of the 1900s, 65 was kind of the going age for people who were to retire. So in 1935, some 35 years later, Roosevelt signs the Social Security Act. Now, this provided a lifetime pension for 7.8 million Americans who were 65 or older. And again, we have the Great Depression going on. Keep in mind, back then, life expectancy was 62. So you weren't really supposed to retire until you were dead. And so that wouldn't put a strain on the system. Now, forward thinkers, and it's easy to have hindsight, going back as to what maybe they could have done. But had they just set it up in such a way that it slid the retirement age along with life expectancy, we don't create this expectation with society today. So anytime we talk about moving retirement dates, I mean, look what happens in France. They talk about moving at a year or a minute, and there's all sorts of violence and riots going on. So this is a sensitive item. So the government set us up to be really sensitive to this moving forward. So by the year 2022, our life expectancy is more than 20 years more than 1935. 58 million Americans at age 65 plus with 10,000 retirees daily. And I made a mistake now that I realize it. So back in 1935, there were 7.8 million retirees. My bad. So you can see how human this is moving forward. We have 58 million now. 10,000 a day is increasing that. So this idea that we prepare ourselves moving into retirement has never been more important. There's definitely a need to modernize the approach for financial planning. Now, in the previous episodes, I've explained, and I do so in the podcast, when all of our energy is put into just the rate of return, that wealth somehow means I have millions of dollars and I'll never run out of money, we set ourselves up for failure. Wealth is not about money. Money is only a byproduct of wealth. Wealth is enjoying those golden years. It's enjoying, it's having happiness, joy, well-being. It's having a purpose in life. So we're trying to change the narrative, at least within our little world. So you realize that this entire process is set up so you can answer really good questions, important questions that help you increase your sustainability, but decrease the aging process. In the next video, we're going to talk about the 5 stages of retirement and why 3 of them are completely unnecessary. You don't have to go through them. But researchers have found that there's 5 stages because stage 1 isn't done. So stage 2 doesn't hold. Stage 3 is an awareness that stage 2 isn't holding and that stage 1 never happened. So then you have stage 4. Sorry about that. I'll get that up there. I'm not flipping you off. So stage 4 is really stage 1, starting all over again. And stage 5 is really stage 2, starting all over again. And the reality is, if you didn't do it right the first time, you're probably not going to do it right the second time. That's insanity, right? We're doing the same thing over and over again. We're giving you the opportunity, if you haven't started, to do stage 1 right the first time. If you've already at stage 1 and 2, then 3 isn't going well for you. That's when you have this awareness it's not going well. Let's get stage 4 correct now. And so we're inviting you to do that. So again, go to the podcast, listen to the history of retirement, print the workbook or download it to your computer so you can answer the questions. And from here on out, as we go through the segments, I'm going to ask you questions, going to go over a couple of topics, and then you're going to finish with the video and start answering things. Those answers are going to set you up for what your golden years look like. Now, if you haven't started the retirement process, this is going to set you up for what cash flow is going to look like. Your lifestyle is supported by cash flow. And so if you've already in retirement and you want to get back on track to really enhance, vitalize what it's like going through the retirement years, this is going to be a really fun tool for you. All right, I'll see you in the next video.